Exclusive.
Hey RedEye, my name's Mike, and this is my friend Ben, and we're in Raw Blood. It's good to be here with everyone at RedEye. I hope you don't have RedEye. That's a terrible disease, and you should wash your eye in the sink with clean cold water. And stop fighting on each other's pillows.
Where did you go? Where did you run? I can't erase what you've done. Let's burn the past, forget the truth. I still love in him, I'm still loving you.
Well, Ben, I saw you take a picture of the bean, and you mentioned the Home Alone house earlier. Is your what do you think of when you think of Chicago? Is that kind of what you think of, the Home Alone house?
I do think of that. Yeah, definitely. And I think of the first time I came here, which was for Lolla Festival, and I walked through the Millennium Park. That's what it's called, isn't it? Millennium Park.
Grant Park, technically for Lolla, yeah.
Okay. And I walked through it, and it looks very different, doesn't it? When without the festival there. But I've got good memories of Chicago.
So Lolla last year, that was your first time in town?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've
You've
been here when I got some family that live in Naperville.
Oh really?
So yeah, I've been here a few times before.
That's cool. So how did you feel like it went, the big Lolla show?
It was one of my favourite festival shows of the year, I think. It was, the weather was great, and there was some great bands playing, and we had a good show. So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you guys were my favorite set of the whole weekend. I thought you absolutely destroyed
Thank
it.
you.
It was fantastic. Was there anything that went through your head, though, when you looked at the roster and was like, you know, it's a different demographic, but playing at the same time as Lord, maybe not a great thing for us. Did anything go through your head when you saw that, or?
No, I think
I didn't know.
I didn't realise we clashed with
Lord.
Well, I was aware we would clash with someone, as that's the nature of the festival. But yeah, we don't really think about things like that. I think it's it's not something that really bothers us.
Sure. You know, some people have written about the way that you guys are, you know, somewhat, thoughtful and soft-spoken off stage, and, you know, certainly a lot of thought goes into the music too, but not quite as restrained on stage. Is there something that you feel like comes out of you, a different aspect of your personality that you think maybe comes through the music?
We just love it so much. And yeah, I guess when we play, it's quite physically demanding music anyway. So it's just the nature of the beast, really. We get so excited when we do it. We can't help but act that way.
What do you mean by physically demanding?
Well,
It's quite energetic and
it's a very primal way of playing music. It's just the two of us, and you know, Ben's hitting everything as hard as he can, and I'm trying to, you know, match that energy level. We're constantly just trying to keep the dynamic between the two of us as crazy as possible, really.
Well, as a result of that, do you feel like people expect something in particular out of you, like when fans meet you after a show or something like that? Are they expecting you to kind of be bouncing off the walls all the time?
Well, they only know one. They don't know who we are. They only see us when we're playing. So, you know, I think that environment is different. You know, in that circumstance, different. You can act in an unusual way, and you can be unusual because
good performance.
It's like if you went to go and meet a famous, you know, heavyweight boxing champion, he's not going to be like he is in the ring when you meet him. Well, I hope not, anyway. It's just, yeah, so there's perhaps there are expectations that would be the same, but you can't really blame people. They don't know how polite we are in person.
Well, with that kind of physical aspect of the performance, and you guys really trying to kind of hit as hard as you can, do you feel like you guys break more sticks, break more strings? What's kind of the collateral damage of that approach to playing?
Ben breaks a lot of his drumsticks on purpose sometimes, just in between songs, just over his head, over his leg.
Yeah. I think we play hard, so
Shit
you know,
happens.
yeah,
Sometimes things fall over, and it's just, you know, that's part of it.
it's the live show. That's why it's so exciting, and you know, you never know what's going to happen on stage.
Is there essentially little need for any type of quote-unquote rehearsal because of how much you guys have really made a point of, like, everything on the record can be created live? It's just, I mean, that's the two of you, and that's pretty much it. Does that mostly negate that notion of rehearsal?
Well, we by nature were rehearsing anyway because we were constantly writing and playing together, and then by the time we've toured so much this year that, I mean, we didn't have time to rehearse. We're playing every day, so. But I think that's the best way of getting better at anything, is doing it for real, and you can't really rehearse a live show. You know, it's just totally different. It's like training for war and then actually being in the war. It's different. You kind of remember your training. it's not always very helpful.
Well, Mike, a lot of people, you know, have talked about, for good reason, just the sound that you're able to get out of the bass. It's so different. When I was at your show at Lolla, I was telling a friend who was at the show with me that you were actually not playing like a traditional guitar, and they like couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't. Do you remember the first reaction after you kind of found this sound, created it at home, and invited friends over? Do you remember what their reaction was? Did it kind of blow their minds that same way?
It was kind of like, oh, cool. It was like, oh, nice one. It was like, I don't know, that wasn't really, I don't think there's anything particularly clever about making a big, loud noise. And I'm certainly not the first person to do that. So I think the real, the thing that really like motivated us, and the thing that we really got a buzz out was, you know, making it work with two people really, and writing tunes that we liked with just the two of us. That was, yeah, the concept of having a big sound kind of got old quickly, basically, put it that way. Yeah.
Well, there is something kind of unique about having like almost something proprietary about your band, of like a secret recipe in the sound. Not look at, I don't know if you could name many other bands that have something that they do that people don't know exactly how they do it.
Yeah, I mean, nearly all my favourite guitarists have kept what they do close to their chest. I mean, I wouldn't say what I do is a secret. I mean, it's kind of in front of you anyway, and you can see that I use 3 amps. You can see I'm playing a bass, you know, and it's pretty evident to most people that I'm using distortion and some octave pedals. Like, it doesn't take it's not really very complicated.
Sure.
But there are elements of it where that I want to remain mine, so I'm not gonna, you know, reveal every single detail of how I do it, because it's in the same way that lots of other guitarists and bass players do. I'm not the only one.
Sure. You say you guys don't expect to be incorporating any other instruments, no organs, no flutes, unless Ron Burgundy himself turns up.
That's true, yeah.
Let's say Ron Burgundy did turn up. How do you think that performance would go with the 3 of you?
You know, I think we'd all be completely unprepared. So, we'll see. Who knows?
Why isn't there more flute in rock these days?
Well, Ron plays jazz flute, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, you know, rock flute doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit quiet, isn't it? Can't really hear it.
Yeah, I think jazz flute seems to be the preferred genre.
Yeah, that makes sense. It seems like sometimes you've gotten some ideas for songs out of a jam session. Can you think of the longest you've ever jammed together, or why that type of environment leads to material?
I think that's the only environment for us that really leads to making a riff or a melody something special. I think, you know, as much as we sometimes write things on our own, but when you're together, it's you're setting things in stone a bit more. So merging, yeah. I think it's, you know, to us, playing live is you know, the premise of the band. So we're always going to write by doing it live.
I mean, does being in like an epic jam session, does that help, or is it more like that wouldn't really create the ideas that
we like
way?
to keep things pretty short, really. I mean, I don't really recall any time where we've jammed for hours and been like, "Whoa, man, that was crazy." Like we don't. We particularly when we're writing, we go in hard and fast and like to get things done, because I think something we've learned over the period of making that record was keep things moving quickly and trying not to overthink things. Sometimes, we like to keep it simple, and I think sometimes when you have too much time to play around, you kind of miss the point.
Have you heard from, it seems like a bunch of the songs were kind of inspired by a breakup or just personal relationships. Have you heard from any of the people who may have slightly inspired some of these songs?
It's mainly about my dog, and I don't speak the same language as it. But yeah, he seemed pretty cut up that I did.
That's a big honor to have your owner write an entire album about you.
Yeah. It was tough times.
Special dog.
Special dog.
Mike, you say you've long been a show-off. Do you have an untold story about when that was evident to you or your family?
I decided to breathe fire when I was 12.
Wow.
I learned how to do it from a friend. You basically put like paraffin in your mouth and then you have to like spray it out in a certain way. So I think I was a fire breathing show off at the age
That's
of 12.
really impressive.
Yeah.
Ben, were you around at this time? Did you know that he could do that?
I did actually. He I remember we were just around a fire. Do you remember this?
Mm.
And you took off your sock and covered it in petrol.
Yeah.
And you lit your sock on fire and then made a torch out of it and did it there. Yeah.
I love fire. I love playing with
I remember
fire.
also you soaked tennis balls in, and then started throwing them at me.
We used to play football we used to like soak it in fuel and then play with the football while it's on fire.
Wow. That's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Do they have that professionally?
Not yet. They should do.
We were going to call it Fireball, but obviously the Fireball whiskey got in contact and have sponsored the game, but we're not allowed to call it Fireball
due to copyright.
If you could pick one narrative to stop having to answer questions about, would it be being a rock duo or being the so-called saviors of the genre?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, both have been asked frequently.
Yes, they have.
But these are claims that certainly were not made by ourselves. So that's someone else's mess to clear up, I think. I'm not really sure whether.
Yeah, just if you can not ask us either of those questions.
It's easier to not answer the question
Yeah.
than get them to stop asking it.
Yeah.
True. Good.
That's what we've worked out.
I definitely
anyway,
was not going to
so
ask.
Far. Though you've tricked us, and we've ended up kind of
Yeah.
answering a similar question. So that's great journalism.
What was going through your head as Jimmy Page was walking up to you before you actually got to talk to him?
Trying to figure out whether he was John Paul Jones or Jim Nagigan. What went through my head? I remember just thinking, "Fuck, I've got to play in front of him," and being very nervous because we admire him.
I remember thinking, "Fuck, Mike's got to play in front of him."
I was just like, "Oh man!" And every time I thought, "Oh, there's like a bit of a solo coming up," I'll just be like, "Oh god, this is fucked up pressure,"
Could you see him while you were on stage playing?
Yeah,
as well?
actually, I kind of the nerves settled a bit because I saw his head getting like bopping and getting into it, and he seemed to be enjoying it. So once I saw that, my shoulders dropped a bit, and I was like, "It's going to be okay." And he was super nice afterwards.
If he had been like messing with his phone or something, that would have been...
Yeah, or just like this.
Yeah, or walking out.
Or just like throwing things, yeah.
If there's one pose that I imagine Jimmy Page doing at all times, it's definitely this.
I personally can't see him ever doing that.
No, probably
He's
not.
the last person I'd expect to see ever doing this.
Was it sort of similar? I mean, how did it come about with you guys opening for a lot of the Foo Fighters show next year? Was that kind of Dave Grohl calling you up and being like, just inviting you, or how did that come about?
Didn't phone, unfortunately. That would have been funny, wouldn't it? But I guess, you know, he decides, he handpicks who he wants to come on the road with him. And yeah, we'd heard that.
It's between us and Snow Patrol.
Yeah, and we're just so fucking glad it was us and not Snow Patrol.
I think everyone made the right choice there.
I think everyone is glad about that.
I mean, Snow Patrol got some hits, haven't they?
They have. I mean,
and Dave can see that. He's a wise man.
But he gave us young'uns a shot.
Better luck next time, Snow Patrol, maybe.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Snow Patrol. Snow joke.
Well, is that? I mean, which is more surreal for you? Would you say then that having Jimmy Page nodding his head along to your show, or having someone like Dave Grohl, who seems like you've looked up for a long time?
We haven't done the shows yet, so to me, it's like it's either like I'm expecting Ashton Kutcher just to
pop up,
his head up and be like, ah,
yeah.
But it's all a bit surreal, really, isn't it?
Well, the most surreal one, I think, was playing with Jason Derulo.
Yeah, that was the weirdest.
That was pretty surreal.
How did that happen? Just a big fest?
Yeah, it was just a little showcase.
Yeah, and he was playing, and then we went on, and then he went on. That was the weirdest, really.
But not on stage at the same time.
No. But and well, the most surreal things haven't really been musical either. Like we met this guy called Lizzo, and he runs a show called News Round, and we used to watch that as kids, and we met him, and that was
that's
weird.
Pretty good.
You don't think you're going to meet people like that, and then you do.
Yeah. Mike, you've talked about Jeff Buckley being one of your influences, which people might not necessarily notice from the record.
Agree with.
Have you ever tried to get your voice to that place?
I try every day. You can only I'm aiming high, but failing miserably. I mean, yeah, I'd love to have his voice, but I don't.
Can you give a idea of what that's like when you try to mimic Jeff Buckley at all?
I sound like a really shit Jeff Buckley.
really shit.
Yeah. I'd have to tell you who I'm trying to be. Like you wouldn't even pick up.
Ben, is there a drumming counterpart that you like always try to play like, but can never
Me,
quite?
probably.
Yeah, Mike inspires my drumming, so I like. He used to have a kit, actually.
I like to inspire Ben by showing him not what to do.
Yeah.
But what to be.
Because then yeah.
Because he goes, I'm never playing like that.
That's it.
And then he'll play like not how I'm doing it. And then.
Yeah, so it's a lot more out of time and less rhythmical than Mike's playing.
That sounds very inspiring.
Basically, Mike plays and says, listen to this and just play the shit version. And that's what I try and do.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting, Ben, you talked about loving Spice Girls in your
Who
past.
doesn't?
I feel like everyone does.
Who's your favourite Spice Girl?
That's such a hard question. I mean, growing up, it was probably Jerry.
Well, that's mine.
That's yours too?
Yeah, who was yours?
I like Emma Bunton. Yeah, especially when she went into the solo.
Yeah, well,
career.
they all went to their solo stuff, didn't they? And I think
Yeah.
Jerry's solo stuff as songwriting was the strongest.
It was, yeah. She pulled some tunes out of the bag.
Is there a Spice Girls song that you've most often sung to yourself?
To become one?
Yeah, every night, just like I'm on the cusp of falling asleep. I'm just singing it.
That's how really me and Mike come together.
Yeah, that
You know.
song.
To
I
become
kind
one
of,
is
you know,
kind
you
of,
kind of feel like a song was written about you.
that's Royal Blood in a nutshell. To
Yeah,
become
basically,
one.
yeah.
That's it.
Can you guys give a little rendition of that? Harmonized?
It's coming. It'll be a special release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, coming soon to a record player near you.
I hope so. I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a royal quiz. I'll throw some things out there and you just tell me which one you like better.
Okay.
Queen or Prince?
Oh,
Do we answer like like collaboratively because we might differ.
Yeah, we're going to differ.
You can argue.
I already know that we're going to differ.
Yeah. This is a tough question, man.
I'm going Queen because that's what got me playing piano, and it was a bigger influence, I think. But I'm not saying that Queen are better. I mean, it's fucking Prince. I mean,
I'm not going to choose.
why don't we take it in turns to answer?
Well, I'm just going to let you answer that, and
Okay.
I'll either agree or disagree.
Okay, he refuses.
Okay.
I'm Queen. This is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
King of Pop, Michael Jackson, or Elvis, the King?
King of Pop's Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that is his official title.
You prefer Michael Jackson over Elvis?
This is a very difficult quiz because you picked two of the hardest things to pick between, and then you're asking us to pick them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I'm going with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, me too.
There we go.
Okay, I'll do an easier one. Dairy Queen or Burger King?
Burger King. We don't have Dairy Queen in the UK.
Yeah, what's Dairy Queen?
Just like a soft serve ice cream from
Okay.
another place.
Yeah, Burger King.
Queen Latifah or Larry King?
Larry King.
Larry King.